So 5 best of 3 still remain today. As in the top right-hand side, we will start this one off with the orange Zerg player, Bly. Against the red Terran. In the bottom left-hand corner from the Shopify Rebellion, this is ByuN. So yeah, I guess I'll very quickly, as we have a proxy hatch coming up, and I was about to say, well, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you guys the order of the upcoming matches after this game. But now let's focus on this, because this is obviously going to be interesting. Obviously, you let Beckett Industries into a best of 3 as Bly. To me, that just says, I have got a very aggressive plan. I have got something I am going to do. Because there is no world in which Beckett Industries can be good to play as a Zerg, unless you've got some really, really aggressive game plan, basically. So that's exactly what we're starting to see right now. See how it pans out is obviously the one thing for ByuN is going to be figuring it out. And at the moment, no SCV scouts. So a little bit greedy from ByuN could maybe cost him here as double gas coming through. SCV goes out to the middle of the map as we do just see the hatchery. And it's going to be finishing at the front. I mean, at least you're going to see no natural expansion, so it gives you a bit of info. Would we like to see the command center cancel? I think that's the safest way to play this. I think against a 1-base, just holding a low ground is never a good idea, so usually I would say maybe canceling the CC is not a bad idea. You come in, you see the Roach Roar and 2 double gas. It's just so difficult to defend out here. Especially because the roaches don't have to move across the map, right? Because they already spawn on this side of the map. That's just going to speed up the entire process as well. Gonna try and build a bunker at the front, but the roaches are already building, man. I don't think this bunker gets to come up at all right now. It's gonna be a little bit rough as a couple of Marines. We'll just sit back a little bit and just gonna see our roaches moving through. Bunker doesn't get to go up. Now the CC doesn't necessarily die, it's gonna sit there for a little while without really having a lot of use to it. Obviously, it can maybe be finished up later on. Depends how quickly you really bust out of this, but yeah, I think ByuN maybe... I think initially he just thought it was like a roach rush maybe, and then he realized it was a proxy, and then he's like, oh, and he was like almost too late that he, so late he didn't want to cancel the CC. Man, this is bad. You're going to have Roach Ravager already in your base. The first bunker got cancelled. I mean, this is terrible. Does this game just end? I mean... Cyclone takes a lot of damage initially. Will keep its lock on at least as SCVs. Now, I'll pull to try and fight. An extra Ravager is on the way up, as one Ravager will die just from surround damage. Bly is going to get the victory in game number 1 here against ByuN. So Bly gets to start up 1-0. Game number 2. And that's up 1-0 in the top left corner of the map. Our orange Zerg player. This is Bly. Taking on in the bottom right-hand corner, the red Terran from the Shopify Rebellion, we have got ByuN. See what his choices are now in this next game. As Bly is sending a drone out around the right-hand side of the map. Well, actually going to be coming down across the map. Of course, we saw ByuN on this map earlier. Proxy racks in Vanya. I don't like that. I think it's smart to not proxy rack ByuN. He's clearly just happy to be aggressive. He might just walk into a hard counter. I do like the concept of just saying, no, okay, don't want to get myself hard countered or anything like that. It's just going to get us set up nice and easily. Makes a lot of sense initially as our hatch, gas, and pool all come through. Now, ByuN is going to SCV scout after the barracks finishes again. However, he goes reactor first. I think that is going to be the change-up that's going to give him a very good chance in this game. Reactor first is actually, I think, a hard counter. And I talked to Euthermal about this, actually, and this is why I'm going to say it with such confidence. Reactor first is, in theory, a hard counter to anything kind of one base focus. Now, it's weird because this is obviously a hatchery on the other side of the map, so is it one base? Well, kind of, right? Because the idea is they can't drone up behind it, so with this setup, you should be able to get a marine count up to hold decently if you pull SCVs, and the only thing I'll say is it's weird because obviously Bly, in a way, has got a base here he can mine from, but it shouldn't be a base he can keep up forever, right? So there's definitely a little bit of intrigue about that. I'm just going to be seeing that bunker going down at the front. I mean, this time the bunker starts much sooner as well, so everything just lining up a little bit better here from ByuN. As he finds this hatchery, obviously doesn't need to stick around there, just wants to go back, make sure, you know, his bunker doesn't get delayed, for example, so anything along those lines, generally a pretty good deal. And he's actually going to get the Overlord here as well. That's really nice. Lifting the CC for a bit of vision. Actually goes a long, long way. Works actually really well. That's a really nice catch then, as we do see the Marines back in the bunker. This Overlord continuing through to the south is going to move toward the main base. Now, roaches are popping out. But with a bunker up and plenty of Marines, I just don't really know if this is going to be a breakthrough from Bly this time. Personally, I'm not really seeing it at the moment. Yeah, I'm not really seeing how this really is going to go in Bly's favor. I mean, he's going to get the Ravager count up. You can see he's already droning. The thing is, ByuN still has got this CC as well, so it's not like he's behind a base or anything either. I really think this is problematic right now for Bly. I don't know. I mean, he's going to get Ling Speed, and I guess the entire game plan now revolves around Ling Speed. Once Ling Speed is up, you can obviously kind of burst through and run in and surround a lot more easily around these bunkers, etc. So I imagine we're going to play around that idea. I imagine that's where we're going to take this. As Bly just starts his hatchery back on his actual natural expansion. But like I say, all of this is going to be delayed and weird, and you know, ByuN is on a worker lead, so Bly definitely needed to do something here, and now it's kind of the backup plan, which isn't going to put him in the best place, but at least do something for him. As you can see, these Ravagers trying to get in range to do, you know, damage to the barracks, but not really sure that's a big deal either. Honestly, you can see that it gets dealt with pretty well. Ravagers back to the high ground. Just going to be seeing them wanting to maybe make a move through. A couple of bars go down. Just going to hit this depot a little bit, and we have a couple of queens out on the right side. It's hanging around as well as a couple more bars once again going to pick away. Do just that little bit of extra damage. Melee and Carapace upgrades continue to come on through. Just going to be seeing that layer with our upgrades as well. So just going to get into Roach Speed and just going to play this Roach style, which I don't think should really come as much of a surprise to anybody considering the way that the game's been going. Obviously, you've got a Roach set up initially. Makes sense to continue into Roaches on the next stage of that as well. So, yeah, no surprises there, in all honesty. Well, do you see our stem pack starting from ByuN as he continues into this Bioforce? So many tanks as well. That's the thing, further down the line here, ByuN is already set up to just be in a really good position. You know, he's set up very, very well for that, honestly. The thing, just because you've already got this this tank force, right? I mean, you're always going to be well set when it comes to dealing with a Roach style. yeah, gonna get pretty interesting here, as we do have upgrades coming through from ByuN as well. I mean, again, you gotta remember that Bly does have this weird scenario where he's obviously got creep coming across the map from, from ByuN's side. So there are a couple of things you gotta keep in mind. That Bly's gonna have much better creep than usual. He's gonna have still a, not a bad economy. ByuN's gonna have a slower third base than what he might want. These are all things that could maybe just give Bly that little bit of an advantage. And the thing is, Bly has absolutely played from this position a lot more times than ByuN has played from this position, and that is the strength of these kind of builds. That if you've just done them more, you're more familiar with these very weird and out of the norm circumstances that kind of come around, and that obviously is maybe going to give you an advantage as well. And that's why Bly often does just really well when you don't expect him to. Do like that he's been able to trade out for tanks here. While he did lose a few Roaches and Ravagers, getting rid of the siege tank count is always going to be a good thing. There's never a bad thing about getting the tank count lower. As again, it's a slow process for ByuN to break out towards his third. Has Stim now, though, and he's going to jump. It almost looks like he was pretending he didn't have Stim still. Then he jumped, and he gets rid of a bunch of the Ravagers, too. He goes very far forward. He's still chasing. Is that a mistake? Aiming for these Ravagers? And the creep spread extends for so long. You're going to see one more Ravager going down, but now, I mean, he may as well commit for the last one. Will we get it in time? We will not. I think that was a mistake from ByuN. I think he gave up too much stuff there. Marines are going to stim into this side, so at least he's going to be able to get rid of those drones, but I really feel like he lost a lot in that situation, which he maybe didn't actually need to. I feel like the initial fight was great, just back away, join up together again, but he got greedy. Maybe didn't expect the creep to be so far out. I mean, the creep is actually going to be all over the map now. It is going to be all over the place. Roaches and Ravager coming through. Burrow and Tunneling Claws building up as well. Supplies are still reasonable. Obviously, one of the big talking points has got to be the fact there's just no third CC in play. That's still on the way up right now. So you're playing no third base against a 3-base Zerg. Okay, I mean, that's actually fine, really. Worker counts are still decent on either side. In fact, the worker counts are really fine for Bly, because his main base will be mining out because it's been, an extended early game. The real question for Bly is, can he fight all these tanks? And the best chance to do that is obviously on creep as the tanks are moving, but he's not quite found that opportunity just yet. Setting up for it though, maybe. But obviously he's got some distractions across the map with the drops going in over there and actually putting themselves in some decent positions, actually. A bit more potential still to come on through as we do have our bunker just going to cancel a little bit. Get some money back. The thing is, there's no wall off or anything, so these roaches now are going to start burrowing around all over the place and just making ByuN's life difficult. Because now he's going to have to start chasing down burrowed roaches, using scans on those. It's another way, another tool that Bly will utilize to try and keep something of an advantage in this. He's going to fall down on upgrades. 2-2 nearly done for our Terran player. And when 2-2 finishes from ByuN, there's going to be some potential trades that will be extremely one-sided in his favor. Roaches coming through, the bio army setting up in the center. We just have that infestation pit going up as well, so it's about halfway done. $16 drones in production. Well, I really wanted to just ramp up that, unit production once those drones are there. Yeah, a couple battles now. I mean, this is nice if you can get the Ravagers away. I'm just a bit afraid of how much bio is able to come through. At least he's not fighting in tank range at all. First tank shots in this fight only just now fired. Now he's on the reinforcers and roaches on the left side. I mean, those are the kind of fights which in theory should go well for you as Bly. And even then, it feels like it wasn't even that great. I mean, it was a step in the right direction, but yeah. It's what he needed, but it just still needed to be better even then. Obviously, it's also the power of the upgrades. 2-2 against 1-1 in that fight. As we move on to creep spread, and ByuN again has been slowly and systematically clearing out creep and building up for the moments. But you can actually properly push across the map into an aggressive position. I think we're finally getting there. Fly is adding on a couple of infestors. A unit he likes to add on as a little bit of a Hail Mary as the games progress. Because we all know a good fungal can be game-changing. Not as they used to be, but still, especially the first couple, right, which are a bit of a surprise, and maybe ByuN isn't pre-splitting. Those fungals can be very scary, especially with Ravager Bowels raining down that you can't split away from anymore. It's a hell of a tank line as these queens on a bit of a too far off wander. They're going to take some reasonable damage there right away. Here comes that Bioforce stimming through. Jumping on top of a lot of this Roach Ravager as well. Our drone's going to pull back from that base, which has just been denied. It's just so much going down here. Bly's going to flank from the right side as well. So, Bird Roach is maybe going to try and get on top of these tanks. That would be an amazing way to fight. I mean, that's definitely going to stir things up back in your favor. As, yeah, just going to unburrow. And all of the tanks just went down, bar the one on the top, which will perhaps go down in a moment or so. Friendly fire, yep. Oh my goodness, he just cleaned out all of the tanks. Cool play. But is it just too late? Is he going to have anything to fight the Bio Army still? That is probably a no. I don't think he quite has enough across the board to properly deal with this, unfortunately. It seems as though we are going to have ourselves ByuN taking this to a game 3. Taking us all the way today. We drop into the main base. Let's see, mobility will be always a problem for roaches, and that's something you will start to see with these drops coming through. Very likely to just continue throughout this from here on out, because there's just no good way to deal with them. And I mean, even then, the roaches showing up in low numbers, that in itself is a problem. And like I say, not really an easy one to get by with. Bye. More or less off the supply at this point. And it looks as though ByuN really is going to have the numbers just to clean out and take this one home. Well, I mean, definitely scary for ByuN, because the start of this game, he is really penned into his base, and you can see the potential maybe of what Bly was getting set up for. It got very exciting, in fact. Team Aurora's going in after that building roach roaring. We've already killed one of them, so no roaches allowed to be produced right now. Well, Bly's going to try and build up some new drones. As, of course, Bly will not leave this game until every possible escape from his deficit has been exhausted. That is how Bly plays these games. Hey, you never know. He's got fungals. Maybe the fungal's gonna do it. It's gonna be a reasonable fungal to begin with, to be fair. The corrosive piles are good as well. There's just so much Terran that it will not really matter. And this is gonna be our game going in favor of ByuN. GG's, as we are gonna be seeing us go to a game number 3. So third map. Final map of this series. Bly making it weird, and will do once again as he looks for his third proxy hatch of the series. It is Bly in the top right side. Bottom left, our blue Terran is ByuN, who I feel like made good adjustments last game compared to game 1. And obviously played patiently, and still feel like he got into a weird spot with ByuN just kind of macroing out of it. Actually, ByuN was contained for a while. This time Bly will not hatch on the base. So he'll go much more aggressive and probably not have a macro option out of this. Very quickly, thank you, Harston and the Muslim, for the raids, and welcome everybody from those streams. Sorry that I threw some of you directly into ads when you joined. I apologize for that. Just had to get games set up, and ads keep these tournaments rolling. This is Bly versus ByuN in the WardiTV Summer Championship main event, $4,000+ tournament that will play out today, tomorrow, Friday, Sunday, Monday, Friday, and Saturday. Those days over the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, 7 days of action. This is day 1 of it. Very exciting stuff, as we do see our hatchery coming up just out away from that natural expansion. So, Once again, ByuN is not going to be scouting right away. He scouts after this barracks, and he's going to go straight into the reactor, which I think makes a lot of sense. As I said before, I think this reactor gives you the marine count a little bit sooner and really just puts you into a safe position when it comes up against a lot of these roach builds and these aggressive attacks, etc., etc. So, I do like that. I think that's very, again, makes a lot of sense. As we scout no natural, we'll see if ByuN wants to try and defend low ground or high ground. He defended low ground okay last time, so I imagine we're going to try and defend low ground again one more time here. Let's find out in the next few moments. Yeah, bunker low ground. We are going to get a couple Marines rallied towards it. I mean, it's going to be close once again, though. Those roaches are already going to be spawning. They are really close to this base. It's super close, isn't it? I mean, it is barely going to go up this bunker if it goes up. But he's actually not even going to go for the bunker. He just goes for the Marines. So he gets 2 Marines right away. Now we're going to be seeing, obviously, the Marines just sat in this bunker and defending. This one Ravager does get cancelled. That's important because that means it is a Roach that dies. That's funny that that doesn't show up on the... A Morphing Ravager doesn't show up on units lost as a Roach that goes down. That's actually really crazy. That's really crazy, because obviously that is a Roach that dies, but it's a Cocoon, so it doesn't apparently count units lost. Oh, that is wild. We got a bit of damage on that Ravager egg as well, as we are going to see a dead bunker, though. 2 Ravagers going down. Now we're going to have to pull back to the high ground here, as we'll see a Cyclone on the way, a couple more Marines coming out. I mean, you've already slowed Bly down a lot, though, so he's not straight into your base. Obviously, you can pull some SCVs maybe with this too. You do have a finished command center, and Bly does not have a macro setup himself to follow up from this. So, pulling a few SCVs and giving him a few of those to be able to hold against this is not a bad thing, as ByuN is going to be dropping a little bit more supply. Marine's going to turn around again. A Ravage goes down. Cyclone locks on. Roach is going to get cancelled. Is ByuN able to actually hold this? SCV surrounding, loses the Cyclone. He is not able to hold. Bly is going to break through, and he's going to beat ByuN and stop ByuN from getting a perfect record. Wow, okay, well, today is going to turn into a bit of crazy, because ByuN will finish this series 3-1, or finish this group 3-1. Mana's 1-1. Trap is 1-2. So ByuN will finish ahead of Trap guaranteed. But he may not be necessarily first place, because obviously now Bly is going to be 1-0. Mana could maybe overtake him. Bly could overtake him. There's a lot of weird potential possibilities that could come up out of all of this. So, kind of a weird situation.